Good morning, children. Having understood about the chapter development, we are now going to understand how the nation states were developed in Europe. Hope you will understand this chapter from history, the rise of nationalism in Europe. We live in a world where the existence of nations is taken for granted. We see people as belonging to nations and having a nationality, and we assume that this sense of belonging has existed from time immemorial. We consider countries as the same as nations and use the two terms as synonyms, making little distinctions between them. We think of countries as unified entities, each with a democratic or demarcated international boundary, a defined territory, a national language, and a central government. Yet, if we were to travel in a time capsule to the mid 18th century and look for nations as we know them today, we would not find them in the past. If we were to ask people about their nationality, about their national identity, they would not understand our questions. Because at that time, nations did not exist in their modern form. People lived within kingdoms, small states, principalities, etc., not within nations. How did the modern nation come into being? How did people begin to see themselves as belonging to a nation? These are the ideas of our learning in this chapter. The sense of belonging to a nation developed only over a period of time. The first three chapters of this book will trace this history. You will see how the idea of nationalism emerged in Europe, how territories were unified, and national governments formed. It was a process that took many decades, involved many wars and revolutions, many ideological battles, and political conflicts. To understand how nationalism spreads, we need to know not only what the leaders said, but also how their words were understood and interpreted by people. If we are to think about how people begin to identify with a nation, we must see not only the political events that are critical to the process, but also how nationalist sensibilities are nurtured by artists and writers, and through art and literature, songs and tales, how did people spread a feeling of nationalism in Europe? We are going to learn from this chapter the idea of nationalism. So, first of all, we need to understand what is nationalism. Nationalism means here the desire of a group of people who share the same race, culture, language, etc., to form an independent country. It is also a feeling of love or pride for your own country. It is also a feeling that your country is better than any other country in the world. Look at this picture. This picture was drawn by a famous artist of France, Frédéric Soreyu. Frédéric Soreyu drew this picture and named this picture as the dream of worldwide democratic and social republic in the year 1848, because that was the years that the whole of Europe or European countries were looking forward for democratic and republic nations. So, in 1848, Frédéric Soreyu, a French artist, prepared a series of four prints visualizing his dream of a world made of democratic and social republics. The first print of the series shows the peoples of Europe and America, men and women of all ages and social classes, marching in a queues, long procession, and offering homage to the Statue of Liberty as they pass by it. A print prepared by Frederic Soreau, a French artist in 1848, it was his visualization of his dream of a world made up of democratic and social republics. Men and women of all ages and social classes marching in a long line, offering homage to the Statue of Liberty as they pass by. Artists of the time of the French Revolution usually personified liberty as a female figure. Statue of Liberty. To understand the Statue of Liberty, we need to understand the personification of the Statue of Liberty. How did they personify? How did Frederic Soreau personify the Statue of Liberty? So, Statue of Liberty had the torch of enlightenment in one hand and the charter of the rights of man in the other hands. On the earth, in the foreground of the image, lie the shattered remains of the symbols of absolute institutions. Absolutists here means the kings and the dynasty rulers, and whatever symbols were used by them, all those symbols and the remainings were just put under the feet of the Statue of Liberty. In Soreau's utopian vision, an imaginary world, the peoples of the world are grouped as distinct nations, identified through their flags and national costumes. So, which are the countries participated in the procession? The leading the procession way past the Statue of Liberty are the United States and Switzerland, which were already nation states. They have already passed the Statue of Liberty. Since they were already nation states, the artist has placed the people of United States and Switzerland just past the Statue of Liberty. And now the French people or the people of France, they have just reached the statue, bowing before the Statue of Liberty. And they were followed by Germany. Germany had tricolors because the flag they carry is an expression of liberal hopes in 1848 to unify the numerous German-speaking principalities into a nation-state under a democratic constitution. Following the German peoples are the people of Austria, the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies, Lombardy, Poland, England, Ireland, Hungary, and Russia. These are very important states and the nations following the France people. So you need to learn all the countries mentioned here. First, United States, then Switzerland, France, Germany, Austria, the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies, Lombardy, Poland, England, Ireland, Hungary, and Russia. These were the countries participating in the procession, reaching the Statue of Liberty, bowing before the Statue of Liberty, asking and hoping for a freedom and fraternity. From the heavens above, Christ, saints, and angels gazing upon the scene to symbolize fraternity among the nations of the world. You can see the Christ the King is coming down along with the angels and the saints to symbolize or to make them understand that all should follow and practice fraternity. During the 19th century, nationalism emerged as a force in the political and mental world of Europe. The result of this force was the emergence of the nation state in place of the multinational dynastic empires of Europe. The concept and practices of a modern state had been developing over a long period of time in Europe. But to build a nation state, people followed a sense of common identity and shared history and descent. Therefore, a nation state refers to a country with well defined, delineated boundaries, resided by people with a similar culture, shared history, and ethnic character. It is also supposed to have a government of its choice. The people in a nation state are supposed to have unity, strength, and cooperation. Hence, in this chapter, we will study many of the issues visualized by Frederick Soreyu in the picture called Democratic, the Dream of Worldwide Democratic and Social Republic. Write the notes in your history copy, and next we will learn about the French Revolution and the idea of nation in the next video. Thank you. Have a nice day.